Are digital addicts speed tracking equality? I know that line might sound a little weird to you, but let me justify that. As a generation, Gen Z is known for being addicted to the internet, to social media, and for scrolling for hours on our phones. I've done it, my friends have done it, and a lot of you have probably done it at some point in your life too. But we can't help it. We were born into the age of the internet. We are digital addicts born into the age of the internet, where 45% of us in developed countries receive our first phone between the ages of 10 and 12. That statistic might sound a little scary to some of you, but it also might sound normal to a lot of you. Yeah, because we spend 3 hours, 38 minutes every day on our devices, 50 minutes more than the average person. But what this also means is we are the most well connected generation yet. We are more racially and ethnically diverse than any generation before us. And this ethnic and racial diversity only grows within our countries, whether that be in terms of our population composition because of immigration or just our understanding of different ethnicities and cultures. We are also the most well educated generation yet, as literacy rates are on the rise, both within developed countries and within developing countries who are aggressively pushing education as it becomes vital to our survival in this digital age. Gen Zers are often called snowflakes because either we are just too sensitive or we complain too much, even though we have so many privileges. Though that, though that may be true, it's also true that a lot of people feel that it's only getting harder to be happier by the day. But as it gets harder, we also are known for complaining a lot. And that may be true too, but a lot of the time, this is just pragmatic criticism. And compared to a lot of generations before us, we are just questioning why things are still how they are. And we also know that we need to be more self reliant these days because the competition is just growing by the day. And interestingly, compared to other generations, we like to be collaborative, whether it be in our learning systems or whether it's in the workplace. And interestingly, this may be surprising to some of you, but in person is in fact our favorite form of communication. Hyperfast information spread. These are just some pictures of some trends over the past few years. Gen Zs or millennials here might be more familiar than others to them. And a lot of these may just be trends for fun, but a lot of them are also to spread a message and spread movements across the globe. And this has resulted in about 25% of Gen Z adults being part of at least one protest or rally compared to 22% of millennials and a lot lower percentages in previous generations. That's to say that it doesn't matter what you do, you just need to do something, whether that be going to a protest or simply just putting a tweet on your posting a tweet on your story. We know how to mobilize our efforts and use hyper fast communication to do so. Some aspects of Gen Z are, at first, we are accepting. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're born, how you look, and whether you have any perceived imperfections. We are more accepting than previous generations before us. We are also more aware. 91% of Gen Zers on a daily basis use the internet to learn about people other than themselves. And this need to keep up is both generated by influences from our peers or just general interest that we have. And because we want to speak up and be part of discussions. Lastly, we care. We statistically care more than the average person about equality related issues. And that manifests both in terms of what we do on social media and posting on our stories, and in a lot of other ways. But how can this help us improve equality across the globe? One, connectivity, our goodwill, pragmatism, and the fast adoption of technology, the digital path forward. The first integral aspect of this is social media. We see social media as not just a broadcasting platform, but a platform where we have a community and we can stimulate movements across the globes and mobilize movements like we have done in the past few years. We need to continue to harness the speed of this to our connectivity with each other. Second crucial aspect of this is utilizing Web3 technologies. Now, I'll get into what these are and three crucial ways they can help us in addition to a lot of other problems they can solve. But I'm sure when a lot of you guys hear about Web3 or blockchain, cryptocurrencies are the only thing you think about. And it's not your fault. This is only the beginning of Web3. And it'll become crucial to our lives in the next few years. But the first problem, imagine not being able to prove who you are, not having a passport, not having a birth certificate, no national ID, no form of legal identification for yourself. This is where Web3 identity wallets come in. Because regardless of where you are, as long as you're connected to the internet, you can make one of these for yourself. These can store all types of information from your details related to your birth or your employment history or the assets you own or your biometric. And how this helps is accessibility. So regardless of where you are on the globe, you can access this digital identity regardless of that. And this means that others can do that too. So as we incorporate these technologies into our system, it'll be accessible to a lot of us, and especially marginalized groups and immigrants who leave a lot of their documents that identify them behind, right? So a lot of people don't have the resources or ability to keep all these documented and on hand all the time. The second problem is that there are 1.7 billion people across the globe who are currently unbanked. What that means is that it is very hard for them to make and receive payments. And this can be solved by blockchain and finance. Because in these traditional banking systems, a lot of people don't have banks that are accessible to them, or they can't afford to create accounts. And there's a lot of hindrances, but as we develop these blockchain systems, anybody who has access to the internet and a device can create a digital wallet and access any form of financial service. And traditional banking systems have high transaction fees, which digital systems like the blockchain and using cryptocurrencies would drastically mitigate. And this would help a lot of us, not just low and middle income communities, when we're making large transactions because they drastically mitigate costs on them. A third problem is the credit problem. A lot of marginalized communities or disadvantaged communities can't access credit. And this may be due to a bunch of problems, whether they don't have the documentation they need, like proof of income or passport, or they don't have details regarding a steady flow of income, or they don't have a credit history, and a bunch of other problems that deter them from having a way to pay, a way to receive credit or debt. But blockchain and fintech, again, work together to provide us with a lot of alternatives for this, especially if you don't have any access to loans from banks or micro lending platforms. Online blockchain lending platforms would help a lot of people access credit, and this would especially help. And this inaccessibility of credit currently deters a lot of people from escaping the perpetuated poverty cycle and having economic mobility to increase their income status. So this would help a lot of people when they're in dire need of credit. The third integral part to this digital path is the quick adoption of technology. We need to continue to use social media as we currently do to and make other people aware as well as ourselves of the advantages of these forms of technology and how they can help so many communities around the world. And we need to use this hyperfast communication skill that we have because of the networking effect. Similar to a lot of social media platforms, these blockchain technologies and technologies to come will need a lot of people to utilize them because their value does not just lie in how they have advantages and how they can help us compared to traditional systems, but their value also lies on the consumer base that uses them. How many people use these technologies? And for this, we need to use our hyper-fast communication as we've done in the last few years and as everybody has seen, because we need everybody to adopt this. And we need to work together from government systems to corporations, organizations. We need everybody to utilize this and make it easy for everybody to access these. Thank you. I say thank you in advance in hopes that you will help aid this digital path to greater equality.